Explain why fish and animals are dying in the area.
People are reporting that their pets are ill. There was one family that had to put their cat down.
This couple saw dead fish in this creek that you're looking at.
Was going to feed her 5 hens and rooster this morning when she discovered them all lifeless.
What's up, guys? It's your boy, Benny. One of the most important jobs of somebody who has an audience is to speak truth to power. That means that when powerful people are trying to cover something up, that you try to speak truth to it, and you fight for people who might not be able to have as big of a platform. And so we're doing our best to make sure that we tell the story of the people in East Palestine, Ohio. And we came across, in all of our research and watching local news broadcasts, a shocking clip. I want to play it for you, but let me just preface it by saying there's a reason why they say canary in a coal mine. There's a reason why that's a turn of phrase. That had to do with coal miners who would bring down canaries to see if there were toxic levels of various fumes in the air, especially if you're mining coal down deep into the earth. And so if the canary dies, that means you got to get out because there are noxious gases that could kill you. So watch what happens to animals in times of natural disaster and man-made disaster. They'll tell you what's about to happen to human beings. With that information, ladies and gentlemen, watch this clip from local news in East Palestine, Ohio, and be horrified.
About that strong scent and the air quality. There is one woman who lives in Mahoning County who's not all that sure that the situation there is safe. First News reporter Nadine Grimling talked with her today. She joins us here with that story. Nadine.
Well, Stan, even though North Lima is about 10 miles away from East Palestine, Amanda Brashear says when she went to let her dog out last night at about 10 o'clock, the smell made her eyes water. And she also believes it could be why her chickens are now dead.
So I walked up to the cage and this is what I found.
Amanda Brashears was going to feed her 5 hens and rooster this morning when she discovered them all lifeless, practically in the same position, with no signs of a predator entering their enclosure.
I'm beyond upset and quite panicked because they may be just chickens, but they're family.
Brashear says her chickens were alive and well yesterday. She believes the smell following the detonation of the train carrying chemicals that derailed in East Palestine is to blame for her birds' sudden death.
My video camera footage shows my chickens were perfectly fine before they started this burn. And as soon as they started the burn, my chickens slowed down and they died. If it can do this to chickens in one night, imagine what it's going to do to us in 20 years.
Officials have said that the smell wasn't toxic or dangerous, but still advised people in the Mahoning Valley to stay indoors Monday night as a precaution.
For them to say the air quality is okay, I'm calling BS. I'm going to be taking my birds to the vet to have them examined because if this is the cause of their burn, they're being held responsible.
Well, sources say this isn't the only incident like this that they've heard of in the past day, but the Ohio Department of Agriculture says they haven't heard of any problems following that controlled release. Still, they say if you have any concerns about your animals, to bring them to their veterinarian or bring those questions up to their veterinarians.
Oh, okay. So the Department of Ohio Agriculture, these people who apparently are in charge of all the animals in Ohio, they must know everything, right? And they say that they haven't heard anything from, other animal owners about their animals behaving strangely. Well, it's funny because we don't happen to be elected officials. We don't live in Ohio. We're not in charge of agriculture in Ohio. And even we, dumbass internet sleuths, can just go ahead and watch TV or watch social media just like the rest of the universe and see that there's a lot going wrong with animals in Ohio. If you opened up
This
TikTok,
is their filter barrier that they have currently. But I think it's important for people to see the dead fish. There's hundreds of them up here in this area across here. Hundreds. Another fish. Another fish.
Well, you could have turned on social media, Ohio Department of Agriculture, or you could have turned on, the television, presumably.
President in East Palestine says his foxes are sick now. Watch this.
Taylor is an ODNR registered fox keeper. A couple of his foxes broke their legs trying to run after the initial derailment. One of his foxes even died.
Out of nowhere, he just started coughing really hard and just shut down, and he had liquid diarrhea and just went very fast.
Taylor tells me all of his foxes have been sick and acting different since the weekend. Some have abnormally puffy faces, including the one he's holding. He says they are not eating properly. Many are dealing with stomach issues and are acting lethargic.
This isn't how a fox should act. He's very weak, limp. His eyes are very watery and weepy.
Some of the foxes are pacing rapidly in their pen, another sign they are not well.
Yeah. Pay attention to the animals always.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you could have watched social media. The Ohio Department of Agriculture could have watched television. They could have listened in on the radio to Glenn Beck's show and heard this.
And I've actually personally spoken to these people who have had herds of chickens die, who have had domestic foxes die. I have a personal friend whose family member's dog went out into the yard and never came back inside, a 2-year-old healthy dog. My personal dogs, just from the 2 days that they were there and exposed to just, the fire fumes and whatnot, whatever was, in the air prior to the detonation. I had 4 dogs needing to have emergency veterinarian services because they were projectile vomiting, very lethargic. So, I can't even imagine what it would be like for a human or an animal to be there during the controlled detonation or being there now. I can't imagine. We've had to go back a couple of times for supplies because, I had to move an entire business in one evening as well as my own personal things. And we've had to go back, and going back is extremely uncomfortable. It is, there's physical symptoms each and every time we go, from, itchy, burning, watery eyes, itchy, burny throat, coughing. It was a weird sensation of your eyes pulsating. It almost felt like your eyes had a heartbeat. Our skin was so dry that even, your general moisturizers that you put on, after a shower have still not resolved the problem.
Okay, so that is a resident that lived 2 miles from the controlled burn. She lived 2 miles from this, on the same road, actually. This is, of course, the same administration, the Biden administration, doing this. This is the same administration that said they're going to cure cancer. A cancer on our nation. And now, sleuth reporters, engineers, in fact, on TikTok, Boomer, Benny. TikTok are starting to say, hey, wait a second, something is really not right about the official narrative here.
Definitive evidence that the fire at the Norfolk Southern rail line in East Palestine, Ohio, was a bigger deal than they said. At last Wednesday's press conference with the governor, a reporter asked what chemicals were of concern, and this is what the representative from the railroad said.
Obviously, the vinyl chloride,
vinyl chloride.
We had to vent and burn, and then a little bit of lube oil,
non-haz lube oil, a little bit.
The butyl acrylate, that is what a lot of what we're gathering.
Butyl acrylate. So today, the 12th, 4 days later, the EPA released the manifest sent to them yesterday from Norfolk Southern Railroad. This document can be downloaded directly from the EPA's website from the link in my bio. I brought up this non-haz lube oil before because just because it's non-hazardous doesn't mean that it's okay to spill it into the ground. So he said a little bit. Well, their train manifests here says they lost almost 2 full loads. These classes of train cars can carry up to 30,000 gallons. I have another video posted right before this that went into more things that were listed on this list but never previously mentioned. So we know that there have been tens of thousands of gallons of petroleum oil spilled. The question is, how much of it burned? We also know that they've been using vac trucks and skimmers to collect more material, but how much have they caught? 1 gallon of petroleum oil can pollute up to 1 million gallons of water. It's going to be really important for us to find out exactly what those petroleum oils were, because most petroleum oils have additives added to them that modify certain characteristics of the product. There are tons of different chemicals that are used for this purpose, but some of them are those forever chemicals, PFAS, that you've heard about. They don't break down in nature, and they can be harmful to humans even in very small amounts. It can cause developmental issues, immune issues, cancer. What this document shows us is there's kind of 3 levels to this disaster. There was the initial fire, the intentional fire to prevent the explosion of the vinyl chloride tanks, then an oil spill.
And what does that look like? Well, this is what it looks like to put the permanent chemicals forever into the atmosphere. This can be seen from space, this black blot on the sky. We're not sure that Ohio will ever recover from nuking their own town. Truly evil.
And we're being told that some of those chemicals are dangerous.
We basically nuked a town with chemicals so we could get a railroad open.
Nuked a town with chemicals so we can get a railroad open. Man, and they're trying to cover it up. There's something weird going on here, man. Something strange. We don't know why the train crashed, and we're not quite sure whether this was user error or whether this was some type of nefarious actor from outside of the United States. There have been huge attacks on our infrastructure, and those attacks should not be taken lightly. And if they can derail a train, and if they can flip chemicals out into the sky and into our drinking water, the Ohio River, of course, feeds millions of people with their drinking water, you have the largest ecological man-made disaster perhaps in history on your hands here. And I think this story is about to get a lot worse before it gets better. Well, watch the animals. And also, man, I really hope that the people who have these injured animals get compensation. I hope they're able to, to sue. Also, where the hell is the Sierra Club and PETA? Where are those freaks? Where's Greta Thunberg? Where are all those lunatics when you need them? Wild. Wild. I guess I'm going to have to go to East Palestine and raise some hell. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? Let me know in the comments section. Is this something that is the biggest cover-up and ecological disaster in human history? And will anyone in Joe Biden's administration be ever held responsible? Yeah, we sure do hope so. We hope so because America is the greatest country in the world. It's worth fighting for. We fight alongside with you against people who want to do this to our communities, to poison us, poison our children, poison animals. Those are the people that we fight. And we are proud to fight alongside you. My name is Benny Johnson. See ya. Thank you for watching. Our channel is here to meme the libs until they cry and then to meme them crying. Their tears, they taste just like sweet, delicious ice cream. Salty, too. We ridicule the establishment and the libs because of you. Your support keeps us going. So if you like what you saw, please punch the subscribe button, click like, and ring the little bell so that you know when we're live. Don't you want to know when we're live? And make sure that you subscribe to our email list just in case the plug gets pulled, as tends to happen. If you want to see more of our videos, click here or here. My name is Benny Johnson. Stay free, base patriots.